Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really grappling with a modern kind of paradox. We've got these laws that designed to protect children, but they seem increasingly at odds with the reality, the complex reality of consensual teenage relationships. And this is creating some, unforeseen legal consequences in India's high courts. At the heart of it all is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, POCSO, from 2012. It's pretty clear cut. Any sexual activity with a girl under 18, it's classified as rape. Doesn't matter about consent. Remember, the age of consent went up from 16 to 18 with POCSO, and this basic framework carries over into the new Faratanya Sanhita as well.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, or maybe troubling, is that while the law's goal is absolutely to safeguard minors from, exploitation, it often ends up in practice criminalizing young men, sometimes adult men, who are involved in relationships that seem genuinely consensual. It can even turn, willing participants into victims just by definition of the law. So our mission today really is to explore how we might create a sort of harmonious construction. That's basically how do we make these penal laws work together without contradicting the reality of these relationships, relationships among teenagers, or sometimes between an adult male and a minor girl who believes she's consenting.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that because this isn't just abstract legal theory, is it? It's playing out, like you said, in courtrooms across India. And it's interesting, even after a major government review, the 22nd Law Commission looked into this specifically. They were even asked by high courts about these consensual cases. But in their big report, the 283rd one, they decided not to recommend decriminalizing these relationships involving minors. So on paper, the law stands firm. But how are the courts actually dealing with these very personal, very human situations?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Because the courts themselves seem to be, struggling. We're definitely seeing a pattern emerge. Take, for example, earlier this year, February 2025, the Bombay High Court, in a case called Vichechand Dubey versus the state of Maharashtra, they granted bail to a man who'd been jailed for over 5 years. The girl, she was only 14 at the time of the incident. She stated very clearly it was a love relationship. She said the encounter was consensual, and get this, her own father apparently knew about the relationship.
Wow, 5 years. And then there was a similar one, wasn't there, from the Nagpur bench, also pretty recent.
Yes, exactly. That was Nitin Damodar Dabarao versus the state of Maharashtra. Again, bail granted. Here, the girl was 13. She said she left home voluntarily, confirmed it was a love relationship, and specifically stated no forceful intercourse happened.
And the medical report backed that up.
It did. No injuries reported. And the court actually observed, quite pointedly, that the incident seemed to be out of attraction between the two young persons.
Yeah.
Not, and this is their words, sexual assault out of lust.
So the courts are making these distinctions, even if the law itself doesn't seem to.
They're trying to, If you connect the dots here, these cases really highlight how the current law makes a minor's consent just immaterial, legally speaking. And the result is often young men facing these incredibly severe rape charges. Now, nobody's questioning the core aim of POCSO, which is vital eliminating child sexual abuse. But when the relationship is apparently consensual, applying the law rigidly can feel like it violates basic principles of, fairness and justice.
Yeah.
And we're seeing other courts echo this sentiment. The Meghalaya High Court, Madras High Court, they're increasingly acknowledging mutual love and affection in these cases. They're emphasizing that POCSO shouldn't become a tool, as they put it, to abuse the process of law. It really paints a picture, doesn't it? The human cost when laws and lived reality don't quite mesh.
It absolutely does. And this legal tension, it feels like it's magnified by just, modern life. Think about social media today. Teenagers form relationships, sometimes intense ones, really quickly, often, without their parents knowing right away. But then when parents do find out, what often happens? An FIR, police complaint, gets filed. And often for these very serious offenses like rape under POCSO, and sometimes that feels like it defeats the original purpose of protecting the child, turning it into something else entirely. So I guess the million-dollar question is, what's the way forward here? How do we resolve this?
Well, that really begs the question of adaptation, doesn't it? How can the legal system adapt? There was an interesting submission to the Supreme Court. Senior Advocate Indira Jaising, she was acting as Amicus Curiae, basically, a friend of the court, offering expert advice in the Nipun Saxena case. And she actually submitted that perhaps the age of consent should be lowered, back to 16 from 18.
Wow, okay. That's a significant proposal.
It is significant. And the argument isn't about, encouraging adolescent sex or anything like that. It's more about trying to align the law with the realities on the ground, and maybe protecting some of these young men who arguably become victims themselves of these unintended consequences. It's about fairness while still being fundamentally child-sensitive. And it also ties into educating minors properly about informed consent, about boundaries, about their rights, giving them genuine agency, perhaps.
So when you, the listener, think about all this, what does it really mean? This deep dive clearly shows this real tension between laws meant to protect and the very nuanced, ever-evolving reality of teenage relationships.
Yeah, the real challenge for society then isn't just about what the law says currently. It's about how legal frameworks can evolve. How can they recognize the growing autonomy of young people while still ensuring genuine protection from exploitation? Finding that balance, balancing the spirit of the law with its actual real-world application. It's a conversation we really need to be having.